Greetings, this is Paul, your Pacific Northwest trail guide. I want to help you pick your next trail to explore, so let's check this one out. The Cascade Head Preserve is a remarkable nature area near Lincoln City, Oregon. It is home to a variety of flora and fauna, some of them threatened species or hard to find elsewhere. If that's not enough, taking a hike through this preserve offers great views from high above this coastal area. This guide walks you through the way on a 5-mile hike to the highest viewpoint in the preserve and back. Going all the way up to the top involves 1,300 feet of ascent, but you can still see some great views without going all the way up there. Considering all the unique wildlife and great views, there may be great opportunities for photographers here. Half of this hike is on an open coastal grassland up on a hillside, so you might appreciate some protection from the wind as well. One last thing to consider is checking out the Nature Conservancy website for this preserve and its current status. There may be occasional closures or other special events to be aware of. The trailhead for this hike is located a little north of Lincoln City at Knights Park. Just north of the Salmon River on 101, you get on North Three Rocks Road heading towards the ocean, and follow that until you see Knights Park on your left. You can pick up the trail at the end of the parking lot by the Cascade Head Preserve sign. It heads back along the road you came in on. To start out the hike, the trail follows along Savage Road for a while before actually getting into the preserve. After diving in, you follow the trail through a thickly wooded hillside before finally emerging into the open meadow. Then, after a short way around the bare hillside, you arrive at a lower viewpoint. The trail crosses North Three Rocks Road to follow along Savage Road here. Although the trail is following along a road, it does dive down into the forest for the first part and gives you a taste of the rich coastal forest you're about to be immersed in. Eventually, you emerge onto and cross Savage Road. After coming down a small hill, you'll see the entrance to the preserve across the road and head in. You'll get started right away climbing up some steep steps cut into a gnarly rooted trail bed. Steps and more steps take you up into the lush greenery of this place. Keep an eye out for signs to help keep you on the right path and out of the private property bordering this area of the preserve. several bridges help you crossing of small creeks along the way. A couple more bridges and a lot more steps bring you to this sign hiding in the woods. It marks the border of the Nature Conservancy land and lets you know that you'll be emerging into the Grassy Headland soon. You ascend up into the open and eventually get high enough that you can see down the south coastline. You can see up the hillside where you'll eventually climb. But first, the trail dips back into a small wooded area to cross a creek. Shortly after, you round a bend and arrive here at the lower viewpoint, with some pretty great views of the ocean and Salmon River estuary. The next section of the hike takes us on a steep trek up the side of this hill about a half mile to the upper viewpoint. The trail awaits right behind the viewpoint. As you ascend, the trail switches back several times, and you might pass small side trails here and there, but the main trail stays in the meadow area. The best views on this hike are actually on the way up this path. You may be too focused on the climb on the way up to notice though. The trail actually gets less steep as you near the top, and you come out onto a beautiful flowery hilltop. There isn't much to mark this viewpoint other than a fence post and the fact that the trail continues downhill if you don't stop here. You can explore past here a bit, but keep in mind that after another third of a mile past here, the land transitions to an area of the Siuslaw National Forest, which is closed for nesting birds from January through the first half of July. After chilling on the hilltop, we head back the way we came. Whether you're taking a closer look at some wildflowers or gazing out over the ocean, the trip down the side of this hill is a real treat. Arriving back at the lower viewpoint, it's time to head back around the hillside on the mostly flat trail. I didn't spot any of the famous Oregon silver spot butterflies while here, but there are many others. Leaving the nature preserve, you dive back down into the tunnel of green. Well, there are a decent amount of salmon berries along this trail. You might find most of them hard to get to.
Just out of reach.
Though most of the trail is through a tunnel of green, there are a few of these peaceful, open spruce groves. The contrast is striking when you emerge into them. I heartily thank the Nature Conservancy for saving this place from being developed in the 1960s. It's an amazing gem that hikers will appreciate for years to come. Now let's go over the ratings for this trail route. You'll find a rough and steep trail on much of this hike, but no serious obstacles, so it rates 2 rocks for terrain. Nothing special to consider for elements except maybe some coastal wind, so 1 cloud. The 5-mile length gives it an average 3 boots. And finally, the climb rates 3 mountains. It's definitely challenging and steep in places, but milder than something like a mountain summit hike. That's all for this edition of Pacific Northwest Trail Guide. I hope I have or will soon help you pick your next trail to explore. I scouted this trail in May of 2024, but trails are always evolving. If you pick this trail and encounter any changes people might like to know about, please help out your fellow explorers by sharing in the comments on this video. I've shown some of the beautiful sights of this trail in what feeble capacity video can render. A picture may be worth 1,000 words, but an experience with all of your senses cannot even be conveyed in pictures or video. So don't take my word for it. Get out there and see it for yourself.